This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Welcome to the award-winning Rich in Life podcast. We're the podcast that dives deep into the true meaning of wealth. We're going beyond money. We're going into mindset, purpose, and the choices that shape our success. In each episode, we're going to bring you inspiring stories, expert insights, and the real conversation to help you build a life that's rich in every way. So get ready to elevate your thinking, embrace new possibilities, and unlock the wealth that truly matters. So sit back, tune in, and let's learn how to be rich in life. Have you ever stopped to think about the weight of all the things that you carry? Not the literal things or the physical things, like the things that you carry in your backpack, not the obvious responsibilities. I mean, the things that you weren't asked to carry, but you carry anyway. And we talked about this in last week's episode. The expectations that you inherited, the roles that you volunteered for once and never let go of, the projects, the plans, the ideas, the habits, the ways of showing up that maybe you don't even need to do anymore. And I promise you that it doesn't feel heavy at first. You get used to carrying all of these roles. It becomes rhythmatic. It becomes part of who you are. It even comes expected of those around you. And somewhere along the way, it starts to actually wear on you and you don't even realize it. If this sounds familiar, it's because you're not alone. I see this all the time. People who look accomplished, they look together, they seem ambitious on the outside, but inside, they're quietly exhausted. They're not just tired, like, I need a coffee, I need a rest, I need a nap, I need a little spa day, but the kind of exhaustion that sits in your bones and says to you, I'm doing a lot, but is any of this actually mine, or is it even worth it? And here's the wild part, right? So it's almost never the things that you shouldn't be doing that exhaust you. It's the things that you used to want, or you used to need, or were told that you should want, or told that you should do, that you keep carrying out of habit, loyalty, identity, or even fear. Fear of what people are going to think, fear of disappointing someone. And we really don't even notice until we're bone tired how much this is exhausting us. We're exhausted, but we keep showing up. We just keep trying, and we keep answering the emails and attending the calls and saying yes to all the small asks because it feels familiar. But we're afraid to actually ask ourselves, does this still fit me? And it's hard. It's hard to ask you that question, right? It's hard to face yourself in the mirror. And have you really ever asked yourself if the things in your life still fit you? Because asking means noticing a lot. You're going to lose your sense of comfort. You're going to lose your sense of identity. You're going to lose a sense of approval from certain people, even if it's just the quiet approval that you're giving yourself. There's a whole grief process in letting go, letting a part of you give up, even if it means you're releasing what's no longer serving you. You're still going to grieve that part of you who was that person that you thought you should be, because it's what you've known. It makes you comfortable. And grief doesn't mean that you made a mistake or that you aren't human, because it actually just means that you are human. It means that you were once invested, and now it's just time to make space for other things. So here's like what I actually want you to hear, right? Because carrying what no longer fits doesn't make you strong. It makes you reliable. It doesn't make you disciplined actually at all. It just makes you exhausted. And exhaustion is often the first signs that something needs to change. The tricky part is exhaustion can also feel normal. We think being tired is normal. We think doing all of these things is normal, because we live in a culture that wears busy and commitment like a freaking badge of honor. And we don't talk about that quiet weight that's holding us down. We don't talk about the tension between what we've been carrying and what we actually need, because we're in a generation where we don't ask for help. But I promise you it's there, and it's there in you, and it's there in your friend, and it's there in your neighbor, and it's there in your coworker. So how do we actually sit with that weight? What does that look like? How do we change that? It's noticing the things that you do automatically, the things that are just on repeat, the things that are comfortable with your brain. Noticing that the things that you carry without even thinking, the roles that you fill because they're expected, the plans and the projects that no longer spark you. I am exhausted just naming this list. And I know that you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh my gosh, she's in my brain. Because this is letting yourself feel the fatigue fully. You need to feel that fatigue, not to shame yourself, not to panic. You just need to feel it. You need to sit with it because that's where the clarity comes into all of this. You need to feel the weight of everything that you're actually carrying. That's where you really start to form your capacity, because capacity isn't about creating more time, not about creating more energy. It's just about aligning it to who you are. And I want you to hear that again. Capacity is about alignment. When we carry what doesn't fit us anymore, we have the energy to do those things, but it's just our energy is leaking because it's not directed into the right things. We know how to be present, but we're distracted because we're just going through the motions. We are definitely ambitious people because we can do all of the hard things, but it's misaligned for where we want to put our ambitious energy towards. And that's exhausting in a way that nothing else is, because you're literally living between two lives. You're living between two identities in two alternate universes, one that you think you're supposed to have and one that you wish you could have. And we've talked about the power of saying no a lot. And I just want to reiterate that saying no doesn't like erase what you've carried. Letting go doesn't cancel what you've built. And releasing your responsibilities doesn't make you a smaller person. It just makes room. It makes room for clarity. It makes room for energy that actually serves you. Room for ambition that isn't quietly competing in your life. And the first step is noticing the weight. You have to sit with the uncomfortable. You have to sit with the questions. You have to notice it. And not in a way where you're judging it or you break down, not in a way that you're noticing it and you immediately want to fix it. Just noticing that I am carrying too much that doesn't fit me anymore, and letting yourself sit with that truth that I am carrying too much that does not fit me anymore. Let that be quiet in your chest for just a minute. And like I said, you don't need to solve it today. You don't need to even act on it. You just need to be aware, because that exhaustion that you feel, that exhaustion is a message, and that message deserves attention. And that's what creates your capacity. And the work of noticing, releasing, and choosing deliberately to make room for your capacity is honestly what you need to work on.